September 26, 1922, the sixth Tuesday of the 8th month of the lunar calendar. On September 26, Hankow Telegram, Hunan Governor Zhao Hengti announced a tax increase of 1 yuan per shi in order to prepare for military expenditure. On September 26, the rice ban was increased and 200 shi rice was allowed to be sold in Hunan. It was Zhao Hengti who used the tax revenue of this batch of rice as a guarantee to borrow 1 million yuan for military expenditure. The name Zhao Hengti appeared in the modern news because of his friendship with Master Xingyun, a great Confucian in the Buddhist circle. Master Xingyun was once arrested by the Kuomintang as a vagrant and charged with espionage. After Zhao Hengti found out, he teamed up with several big shots to rescue him. Later, he also brought back the skull of Master Xuanzang from Japan, so he has a certain status in the Buddhist circle of Taiwan. When he was young, Zhao Hengti joined the Tongmen Hui, was admitted to the Japanese Army Non-Commissioned Officer Academy, and participated in the Revolution of 1911. In 1920, he was appointed as the Commander-in-Chief of the Hunan Army by the French Protectorate military government. He advocated interprovincial autonomy. Note: let the people of Hunan pass the Constitution of Hunan Province through a referendum, and in September 1922, he was elected as the governor of Hunan Province. The local governors, equivalent to the governors, of Jiangsu, Zhejiang, Guangdong, Guangxi, Yunnan, Kishu, Hubei, Sichuan, Jiangxi, and Anhui saw that they could still play like this, so they followed suit one after another, forming a climax of interprovincial autonomy across the country. Even the Interprovincial Self-Government Promotion Association was launched, and it was planned and organized by Zhang Taiyan, Cao Yibo, Chu Fukan, Zhang Ziyuobin and other social celebrities at that time. The original intention of federal self-government is good, and it has a certain democratic and progressive color. But it did not fundamentally change the social outlook of China and the situation of the Chinese people at that time, and radicals advocated dividing China into 27 small vassal states to seek the construction of each province and live their own lives. Familiar to you, American federalism, and there are more and more voices against federal self-government. In the Communist Party of China's advocacy for the current situation, it is pointed out that interprovincial self-government is actually blatantly advocating military separatism. The federal provincial self-government is moving toward the division of borders and land. It can be said that it has as great a centripetal force as it has a centrifugal force. Following the northern expedition of the Guangdong nationalist government in 1926, the slogan of interprovincial self-government was no longer mentioned. Note: interprovincial autonomy was proposed by Liang Qiqiu in 1919, which can be regarded as an attempt to explore China's development path under the background at that time. Intellectuals want to emulate the American federal system, through the provinces and regions to establish a constitution first, and then realize a political ideal of a democratic republic. September 26, Japanese reporters interviewed Sun Yat-sen, talking about why Japan's aid to Yuan Shikai and Duan Kairyui failed. In this interview, the Japanese reporter originally just wanted to know about the situation of Sun Yat-sen's cronies and warlords in various places. Sun Yat-sen said succinctly, "Sending representatives to the north is a courtesy return visit to the last time the north sent representatives to the south." Then they talked about how Japan should not support Yuan Shikai and Duan Kairyui, but should support the Kuomintang. Japan carried out the Meiji Restoration, and those who supported the Tokugawa family failed, while those who supported the reformers won. The same is true for China. Supporting old bureaucrats like Yuan Duan, you have invested 300 million in China, and now the dilemma is the only result. If it weren't for your support for Yuan Duan and his generation, China would have been unified 5 years ago. Now, before you have time, it is correct to support the Kuomintang. These words are really restrained, and I must be scolding my mother in my heart. If you robbers don't rob us, especially referring to the 1919 Paris Peace Conference that directly robbed Qingdao, we won't get worse. Sun Yat-sen has a deep relationship with Japan. Generally speaking, he advocated the friendly cooperation between China and Japan before World War I, opposed Japan's policy of aggression against China during World War I, and advocated Sino-Japanese alliance again after World War I. As a politician, Sun Yat-sen must have sensed Japan's aggressive ambitions, otherwise he would not have exposed and opposed Japan because of the Shandong issue. From the perspective of future generations, he may think that Japan has not yet openly and wantonly invaded China, so it can try to promote Sino-Japanese cooperation first. In his subsequent contacts with Japanese political circles, Sun Yat-sen insisted on Japan's assistance to China and abolished some unequal treaties between China and foreign countries, such as the 21 articles signed by Yuan Shikai, etc. Japan publicly proposed to him that if he wanted to abolish the unequal treaty, he must exchange it with Mongolia. It is of course impossible for Sun Yat-sen to agree to exchange one inequality for another. Shanghai, September 26. Shin Kyu-sik, Prime Minister of the Provisional Government of the Republic of Korea, passed away in Shanghai. The Korean Provisional Government in Shanghai was established in 1919. After Japan annexed North Korea, it banned North Korean schools from teaching in Korean, which directly led to the outbreak of the March 1st movement in North Korea in 1919. The leaders of the Korean independence movement successively established provisional governments in Vladivostok, Shanghai, and Seoul. The last three provisional governments merged into the Provisional Government of the Republic of Korea in Shanghai to carry out the struggle against Japan and the restoration of the country. It moved to Chongqing in 1937, and moved back to the Korean Peninsula in 1945, and then evolved into today's South Korean government. Shin Kyu-sik arrived in Shanghai at the end of 1911. After meeting with members of the Tongmenghui, he decided to join the Chinese Tongmenghui and join the revolution of 1911. He maintained a good relationship with the Chinese revolutionary parties at that time. In 1920, he founded the Zhengtan weekly newspaper in Shanghai. Sun Yat-sen, Hu Hanmin, Chiang Kai-shek, Yu Yuan, Bai Wenwei, Su Jian, Zhang Jingzhang and other Kuomintang dignitaries wrote inscriptions one after another. In November 1921, just as the Washington Conference was about to be held, the Korean Provisional Government hoped that the conference would recognize Korea's independence and restoration of the country. Shin Kyu-sik, as the special envoy of the interim government, acting Prime Minister, Legal Affairs Minister, and Foreign Minister, also went to Guangzhou to pay a visit to Sun Yat-sen, announcing the recognition of the law-protecting government as the orthodox government of the Republic of China. In June 1922, Chen Jianming launched a mutiny against Sun Yat-sen in Guangzhou. Shin Kyu-sik lamented deeply, "The business that Mr. Zhongshan worked so hard for has all come to naught. This is not only a great misfortune for China, but also a great misfortune for South Korea." After Chen Guan went to the United States, he never returned, which led to internal strife in the interim government. Shin Kyu-sik fell ill from depression and refused to take medicine or food. He died in Shanghai on September 25. Note: the former office site of the Provisional Government of the Republic of Korea is located at number 4, Lane 306, Maydang Road, Uangpyu District. Since the establishment of diplomatic relations between China and South Korea, every South Korean president has visited.